You're listening to the Kennel Confidential Podcast. I'm your host, Davin Ramage.
I'm your co-host, Chad Wagner.
Let's get into the episode. Hello and welcome back to the Kennel Confidential Podcast. It has been a minute, but we are here with good news and just wrapped up our second annual Top Dog runoff. Congratulations to Yall and High Stakes Becca on the win. Sitting here, of course, with Chad, and we've got Joni Moore from Texas, if y'all remember Joni from the previous episode. And we have got big news, and we are ready to discuss the UFR that Joni has put together for us Feist lovers.
Hello.
Well, it's been more than a minute. I think it's been 5.
Months, years, decades. All right, so just to cut to it and get going on UFR, the United Feist Registry that Joni has put together and Chad has assisted in, and I've tried to assist in, and I don't know, many others. I guess we got to give Jeff a little shout-out because he puts up with it, right?
Yeah.
All right, so Joni is going to have all our answers. It is her baby. We've got a few questions to fire at her, and there will be more questions to come. May even check a little Facebook commentary to see if there's something we missed that people have been asking. But to get us started, Joni, tell us what the United Feist Registry is.
Just that, just a Feist registry. We'll register dogs. We will have some hunts. Our goal is to make the Feist a Feist, to make the Feist a breed. That's been our goal all along. So we're just trying to make that happen now.
Just taking another step to get a little closer and try to further the mission from more like-minded people on the same page and that sort of thing.
Yes.
So as far as the standard, that's going to be a big question that everybody wants to know. What is, just kind of briefly hit the high points of what the standard is going to look like for the Feist. I mean,
our standard pretty much hasn't changed from what the Tree and Feist standard was. It pretty much is.
It's basically the same standard that ATFA, NKC, UKC, everybody has. We're putting more emphasis on the complete standard and not just height and weight. So we're going to be looking at, shoulders, chest, muzzle, ears, we're looking at all of it. We want to make sure that what the standards is describing is what we're looking at in the dog.
Right on. And so that being said, I guess we kind of skipped over it and should probably mention too that the UFR is not really going to see a treeing Feist or a mountain Feist. The UFR, once these dogs get registered, the United Feist Registry is just that, just Feist.
Feist, yes, that's correct.
And so tell us, I know these answers, but just to try to make it something worth listening to, tell us a little bit why you decided to kind of do away with the individual categories of Feist.
I feel like there's not that much difference. A lot of them tree alike, a lot of them hunt alike, there is not a whole lot of difference between Mountain Feist Standard and Tree and Feist Standard in any registry that I have seen. And I feel like a Feist is just that, a Feist.
Right.
That should be good enough for the breed.
Sure. And to eliminate the two categories really fits, I think, well into the United name instead of singling out one or the other.
Yeah, and I think if I can add to it a little bit, my opinion is I'm not sure that there is enough treeing Feist to be alone and mountain Feist to be alone. I think if you bring all those back together, you've got a better gene pool. Now, there's going to be some lines that go more heavily the stand-up ears like we've seen in the mountain Feist, and some lines are going to stay more of the cropped ears or the rose ears. But I'm just not sure that they're the numbers for each breed to be sustainable. But together, I think a Feist as a whole breed is more sustainable.
Yeah, and we've talked about it plenty of times. I don't know if we've ever talked about it on here, but just you and I, Lemon, my dog, has come from Tree and Feist parents. But if she was ever attempted to be single registered as a mountain Feist anywhere with her, she'd come out with prick-eared. And I think she would absolutely obviously, if she was not already a tree and feist, if she just came in out of the woods somewhere, she would absolutely fit a mountain feist breed from 2 tree and feist parents. So, moving towards this United Feist Registry and continuing the mission that you mentioned, which will be the same as the mission of the UTFA while they were a breed association with the UKC. By combining these, and I guess we've kind of hit it quickly, but by kind of doing away with the subcategories and that sort of thing and starting a registry that's going to focus more on the entire package, the full breed standard, like you talked about, Chad. What is it, and Chad, you do some breeding too, Joni, so this might be a good question to ask y'all. What is it that, by looking at that whole package and really focusing on all the characteristics instead of 2 very broad characteristics, how is it that you feel that does move it more towards a nationally recognized breed? How does it benefit the dog?
Well, that's kind of a trick question, in a way. It does give us more of a gene pool. So I know there's been some talk about there's not enough dogs to continue the breed because we're going to breed ourselves in a corner. Maybe that could happen if you kept the 2 breeds separate. But it does keep the gene pool open a little bit more. I guess it'd be hard to say the benefits, but I guess to get away from one other scenario that people talk about is, and I've used this analogy before. So if you take a dog and unzip its back, about like a full glass of water, everything you pour in, something's going to spill out. It's already full. So if you were going to pour all of red color in, you might lose hunting ability. Or if you wanted to make sure that, the dog, whatever trait you wanted, that's everything that you add into that dog, you're going to lose something. So if you strictly said, I want my dog to be red, you may lose some hunting ability trying to get red. Or if you said, my dogs must have break over ears, so that's all you concentrated on, you may lose something else. So in this option, or this way, it's not as strict and narrow on one feature. So I think that's going to help out too.
So, Joni, you hit on it just real quick a second ago, but you had mentioned that the UFR will not only be just a registry, which is really, I think, probably the focus of the UFR, is in opposite of the UTFA days, where UTFA was a breed association, but was also heavily hunt focused in the UKC realm. You, as the UFR founder, president, CEO, whatever you call yourself, you as that person in the UFR have almost kind of turned it to where you are way more breed focused and registry focused. But will the UFR still host hunts?
We will still host some hunts, but our hope is that other clubs, organizations out there will host some hunts as well.
So if a club were to be interested, they would just reach out to you through the Facebook page or whatever contact information is out there and just say, hey, we want some hunt packages, and UFR will provide packages and scorecards and all that good stuff.
Yes, we're in the works of getting a website up. So as soon as we have all of the contact information and all the websites ready to go, we'll shoot that out to Facebook. We'll get that live and going. It'll have all the instructions, all the paperwork that you can fill out and download. It'll have the breed standards, the hunt rules, the how to single register a dog, how to register a litter, how to apply for hosting a hunt, having a licensed hunt.
So we kind of I got ahead of myself a little bit, but so just to back up to the hunts that UFR is planning to host and kind of already has scheduled mentally anyway, what hunts and how many will be true UFR hunts?
Currently, right now, we have planned the Grant Black Classic, which will be in October. We started that with UTFA for the Exceptional Center in Grant Black's honor, to raise money for that, and we would like to keep that going. So we'll have that hunt then, and that'll be the second weekend in October, and then we'll have our World Hunt the first weekend in December.
And of course, we'll continue to host the Top Dog Invitational runoff each year, and it just won't be under the UTFA banner anymore. It'll be under the UFR banner.
Yes.
So jumping back forward again, once this information is out and found and the website's up and running, that sort of thing, how soon, maybe now, are you ready to start registering dogs and taking dogs?
We actually have some dogs that were registered this weekend at the Top Dog Hunt.
So you're ready right now?
We're ready. We can do it. The website's not quite ready, but if you're interested, just reach out via Facebook and let us know.
So what is the registration fee for the dogs?
$5 for now until December the 31st.
So I know I've seen a few comments and questions on Facebook about grandfathering and that sort of thing. Maybe to clear up that confusion as far as grandfathering of the dogs, UFR will not necessarily be grandfathering any dog from another registry. I mean, even the three of us sitting here, we've all paid our $5 per dog to register.
Correct. There's really nothing to grandfather. UTFA, we didn't register dogs. They were registered through UKC. We may help with the single registration. You may inspect the dog, but it still was registered through UKC.
Right. Okay. I think the, $5 is a very fair fee, I think, and I think it's great to get people interested and get them involved and get them off the fence, maybe. So, any clue what the fee will go to beyond December 31st? Have you considered that?
I think we talked about $20.
Okay, which, I mean, is still a very reasonable registration fee. Well, I was going to jump over to Facebook and just kind of hit some of the comments that have been made and questions that have been made. So, going to the comments, we've talked about it plenty off microphones, but I do believe that there has been an excellent show of support for this idea from people that agree with it and want to get behind it and that sort of thing. And I know that I appreciate to see anything positive on Facebook, and I know you've put so much time and effort and energy into putting this together that the positive comments have got to be good. But one that I see come up a lot, and I'm sure somewhere in some episode, probably somewhere in 3 episodes, we've hit on this plenty of times, Chad, but it's the type conversation. And that goes back to the question I asked earlier about how does this benefit the breed? So, which obviously I knew the answer to that question, but just to kind of voice my opinion on that now, to me, the UFR will benefit the type conversation much more than UTFA was able to benefit it. And I don't really mean that in a negative or a bad way, but I just mean there's going to be less red tape, less hoops, less channels. This, to me, gives the Feist people more control over making that a breed, which hopefully will combat that type conversation a little bit. I don't think it's any secret at this point that we are what I call purist. We are Feist purist and don't really believe the type conversation, although people are allowed to believe what they want. But that is, to me, the number one discussion when it comes to whether or not is a breed or not a breed.
Well, I think when that question comes up, it's everybody's entitled to their opinion. If you think that it's a type, that's fine. I asked a question here a while back, what makes a breed a breed? And 90% of the comments, what they were saying, a breed standard, bred for years with a registry, with paperwork. The Feist has had that since the 80s. So it's hard to argue with what has been done and what is up to this point. We're not telling anybody what to breed. We're not telling anybody how to breed. Not telling anybody where to hunt. The only thing we're saying is this is what we're offering. If you feel the same way we do, give us a chance. And you're probably going to hit on this. I might be going in a wrong direction, but since we're kind of on the breed type thing, that, like Davin said, I'm here helping until I'm no longer wanted or needed. I'm here to help Joni. A lot of the conversation we've had and kind of going towards single registration, trying to figure out how to get this thing going and how to move forward. So a lot of the comments we had when we first started UTFA and then later is, why didn't we have a plan out there for the registration of dogs instead of changing it all at once? So if you don't mind, I'll put our plan out there real quick.
Sure, yeah.
So our plan, and if I didn't get anything wrong, Joni, let me know. So our plan is, like I said, we're registering dogs now. So from right now till December the 31st of 2026, like Joni said, single registration fee is $5. And also, we are not going to require a percentage until December 31st, 2026.
Elaborate on what you mean by percentage a little bit. Just make that clear.
We're gonna go strictly off of the breed standard. If your dog meets the breed standard, it'll be eligible to be registered. So we're not gonna really focus on pedigrees or blood percentage at this point. So like I said, until December 31st, 2026, we're just going to go off the visual standard. Starting January 1st, 2027, we're going to require a 3-generation pedigree. Registration fees will go up to $20, and a dog must meet 75%. It must have the look, and it must be 75% Feist. Then January 1st, 2028, from then and forward, it's going to be 87.5%. They must have a 3-generation pedigree. They must be 87.5%. And we're still working on the final number, but we're looking at between 1,500 and 2,000 dogs. Once we hit that number, the registry will be closed. There will be no more single registration after that point. So we've had a lot of comments. What makes a breed a breed? The registry has to be closed.
Closing the books comes up a lot.
Closing the books. So our plan is to close the books. That's our plan. It's just going to take us a while to get there.
Well, and we were going to save standards and rules and that sort of stuff for a future podcast so that we don't pile on too much into one, but we really haven't been on here too long, and we've kind of already got halfway across that bridge. So if the plan is for the first year to go strictly off the breed standard and fitting the eyeball test more or less without worrying about pedigrees and percentages, just quickly, for those that maybe aren't super familiar with the UKC test or UKC standards that we're used to, just kind of hit the cliff notes, the main points of what it would take to pass that eyeball test for a Feist.
Well, of course, everybody knows 18 inches. We haven't set a weight, so 18 inches is going to be the height.
Male and female.
Male and female. Tight-lipped. I mean, they can't just have big jowls hanging down. High-set ears. If they're, I don't know what you call it, the whole of the ear is halfway down the head, that's low set. That's not high set. They got to be up on top of their head. Can't lay flat. They can be prick-eared, rose-eared, cocked ears. They got to, I guess the best way I can.
We want to look at the whole package, not just focus on height, not just focus on ears. You want to look at the whole package of the dog.
So as far as head shape and, really even body shape, to me, which Chad teases me plenty because, what do you call it, a pop bottle nose? Is that what you call it? Yeah. I like a tapered muzzle. Does the UFR discuss anything about muzzle or head shape or that sort of thing?
It does. I don't have them pulled up. It's all in the breed standard. and I don't have all of that completely memorized. I mean, it's a terrier type dog. So, and I hate to say it like this, but most of your fox terriers would be, I guess, a perfect example of what a Feist would look like. They got a good break between the muzzle and the eyes. It's more slanted. It's not, or it's more up and down. It's not slanted. A lot of your hounds have a, from the forehead to the muzzle, it's more of a 45 or a slant. Most of your Feist have more of a straight drop right there, a deep chest. For lung capacity.
Fit, agile, nothing blocky, heavy, nothing like that.
I mean, we're going to have different types, and there is blockier type Feist, but there is a difference between a blocky Feist versus what the original mountain cur look is, I guess, is what I'll say. And there is a difference between a terrier type look and a hound type look, so. But like Joni said, it's the total package. We're not looking at ears. We're not only looking at ears. We're not only looking at nose color or eye color, or we're not looking at all that. If they've got blue eyes, they have blue eyes. If they're merle colored, they're merle colored. If they got a pink nose, well, they just have a pink nose. So I mean, but they have to look like a Feist, and everybody argues on type or breed, just what we're talking about. There's never been that many arguments on what they're supposed to look like. If you look at every registry out there and you look at their world hunt, the top 10 dogs in the world hunt, 80 to 90% of all them dogs look the same. The same build. They got the Feist look.
And you can almost, in my opinion, you could say that across not just the UKC world, UKC standard. To your point, Joni, a lot of the standards for the UKC is more thorough, thanks to UTFA pushing that. But a lot of the Feist standards do agree. To my knowledge, I think the ATFA is the only one that separates anything between gender, height. I don't think NKC says anything.
NKC's Feist is the same. If it's just a Feist, they have the... All these breed standards for Feist were all generated, or they all originated from one standard. Now, who set that standard? I don't know. It might have been American Feist. They had an American Feist Breeder Association, I think, years ago before ATFA. So, they had a MTFO association years ago. So. And everybody has used basically the same breed standard. There's just been a couple of little modifications done, and the height on females was one. The original, just like ATFA uses, females were 17 inches, and I think when it was redone for others, they moved it up 18 for both, and ours is 18 for both.
So I guess my point was, if you look across, you mentioned looking at the world hunting those dogs, and 80 or 90% of them kind of fit in the same look. You could look across really any registry and get the same look. I've made comments to you before about the ATFA. They're really a height and weight standard, but even in their hunts, if you look at their pictures or look at their hunts or attend their hunts, I would say 90 to 95% of their dogs all look what I would call a Feist. There's a lot of pot bottle noses over there.
Yeah, well, and that's what I was, whether it's ATFA, NKC, UKC, NSF, all of them, if you look at theirs, 80 to 90% of all of those dogs are going to, they are a Feist. Now, the other 10% have something else mixed in them, and that's what they do, and that's fine. But the 80 or 90% of what those dogs look like, that's what we're looking for.
I'm glad you said that too, because I meant to kind of hit on that a little bit more a second ago. You had mentioned that the UFR is not, we're not, I say we, you, Joni, you're not pitting sides. You're not trying, it's not UFR versus the world. It's, it's just that you felt that this was a good step to get out there and further the Feist as a breed. And, we've always, especially on this podcast, but even with people I talk to and meet, we've always kind of encouraged to find the rule set you like, find the registry you like, and hunt it. I don't really think you should ever have to. I've hunted an NKC hunt, I've hunted ATFA hunts, I've hunted plenty of UKC hunts. Look forward to hunting UFR hunts. I don't. This isn't a move to pit sides or say pick us, not them. It's just another option, and will work its way towards kind of fitting that purist mindset of this is a breed and it can stand on its own and just hold my drink and watch.
Right. I mean, I have absolutely nothing against the people that want to breed a Feist and a cur and hunt that dog. That's your choice, But for the people that want a Feist, that's what our goal is for UFR. That's what we want, is for the people that want a Feist. We're not saying that you can't breed what you want and hunt what you want out there, but we want it to be a Feist.
And you can call it a Feist if you want to. It's just that UFR won't agree with you necessarily.
Correct.
Which is that's not the end of the world. It's not an argument. It's not a jab or a backhand. It's just that UFR just may not agree with you, and that could be okay.
Well, and like Bo, I think he's registered in 7 registries now. If I get ready to go to an NKC hunt next weekend or an ATFA hunt next weekend, whatever I decide to do, just because I'm helping and a part of UFR, I'm not going to not go to that hunt. So, yeah, like you said, Davin, find what works for you and your dog and go hunt it. Hopefully it's us. I mean, if you like what we're doing and your dog fits, please give us a shot. Come hunt. See what you think.
Sure, you're welcome. You're welcome no matter where you may hunt. Predominantly NKC or predominantly ATFA or UKC, but you're welcome. We're not going to look at you funny. We're not going to turn a nose up at you just because you're a ATFA person that showed up or an NKC person.
Oh, no.
Or if what we're doing isn't your cup of tea, I'm not mad at you.
Right. Sure. Yeah. So, Joni, one thing we didn't hit on too, and I'm going to look at you at this because you probably love it the most of the three of us sitting here. But we didn't discuss whether or not UFR would also have bench shows and confirmation type titles and degrees and that sort of thing.
Yes, most definitely. There will be, you can champion your dog, grand your dog on the bench, as well as in the hunt. We'll send out certificates for both. We have all of that stuff ready to go.
So you'll get the letter in the mail just like you do from all the other registries, and you'll have something to hang on your wall and say, look what my dog did, and brag about.
Yes. All those certificates, they're built, they're ready to go. We're ready to get some dogs in there and start earning them.
And so since we're talking about that too, and to kind of tie into the grandfather comment, although this is, UFR is now kind of a different arm, a leg, a different limb, an appendage of the UTFA under a new name and same mission type thing. That does not mean none of any title or anything earned in the UKC is also not being grandfathered over.
Correct. I have dogs that have grand or championed in the bench or in the hunt, and it doesn't matter. They got to start all over.
Everyone's starting fresh on the same
page. Yeah, her world bench champion is just starting all over now.
So, just jumping into Facebook now, I was just kind of wanting to hit some of those, but not all those. Facebook can take us into the weeds fast. But there was a comment from Mr. Robert Bruce that was interested in your search area rules. And we will do more rules podcasts and kind of get into that, but that can be in depth. And really this focus of this episode is really just to kind of roll out the information, what we can of it. But has there been, to answer Robert Bruce's question, what will the search area be? Has there been any changes from what a UTFA hunt would have recognized?
No, the search area hasn't changed. It's still going to be 15 steps to find a squirrel and 30 steps to find a nest or a den. I guess since well, let's fall down this rabbit hole on changes, and I know we're going to go into rules later on. The two biggest things that we've changed in the rules is a 1 minute tree time instead of a 2, and then everybody always didn't like the way that the rules were stated on a minus. It said when dog left the tree, so everybody wanted that clarified a little bit. The way we're going to clarify it is if you go in, a dog's not on a tree, judge must announce 10 seconds has started. They have 10 seconds to show tree, and when they re-establish a tree, it must be within 5 steps of the original tree. So I think that's going to clear up what's leaving the tree. So I think that's the two biggest changes that we've made on the rules.
And I'm going to give everybody a second to pause and rewind and listen to that one more time, because it's distances and stuff to get your head around. But once you've paused and rewind and listened to that again, I do want to add that you and I, Chad, have been out hunting, and we've kind of tried to employ that rule just on pleasure hunts and kind of check it out and see how it works. I personally, at first, was kind of on the fence about it. But if you truly understand the way of Feist hunts, they back up a lot and they're not toe-nailed. Most of the time, I'm sure that there's some dog handler, dog owner out there that's going to tell me their dog toenails every time and barks every breath and always has the fur. But the most part, Feist likes to back up, look up the tree, that sort of thing. And so I was really on the fence about that change at first, but I think once I've seen it employed and you really apply it to how to me a Feist hunts a squirrel or anything really, I think it's a good rule. I think it cleans up some of the broad stroke of maybe the other registry rules or other association rules. So I don't know, my opinion, and Joni, I don't think I even talked to you much about that rule. Me and Chad did a lot of talking about it, but my opinion, I think that's a change that, like I said, people need to go back and listen again and really think about, and I think it'll be a good change. I'm in favor of it. All right, so to jump back into Facebook and look at it one more time, Mr. John Finley had asked the question of, is this a move to get UKC, NKC, AKC, PKC, or whatever else KC is out there to start recognizing registration of the Feist as a breed and not a type?
Guess you're waiting on me. I'll take this one, Joni.
Yeah, go for it.
So, again, I'll throw my opinion in here. All the kennel clubs that currently register Feist have a breed standard, not a type standard, a breed standard. So I think that all of those already recognize a Feist to be a breed. In my opinion, most of those registries only look at two aspects of the standard, like we hit on before, height and weight. So, no, this is not to get them to recognize. This has been started because I'm not sure that any of the other registries really care about the breed. So, like I said, they're looking at height and weight. They're not looking at the total package. So, I think that's doing the breed an injustice, and that's kind of what I think that's kind of what Joni wanted to start, was to get them to more of a standard later on. It's not going to happen overnight, but by the time we hit that magical number and we can close the registry, once that happens, I think that things will really tighten up, and we'll see a whole lot more dogs meet the total standard. So, is it to get them to recognize it? No, it's not to get them to recognize it. It's because they only recognize a couple of aspects of the standard. We want to recognize the whole standard. And I hope that doesn't come out negative and blaming and pointing fingers, because that's not the way I'm meaning it. It's just, I guess that's just the way I feel about it anyway.
Joni, how long have you been working on this? I guess we hadn't really talked about that either. At hunts and stuff, we've had conversations with people and put fillers out, so there's probably several listening that already kind of know how long this is.
Yeah, how long did I tell you it was a bad idea?
Oh, I don't even know. But we've talked about this for a long time. Probably.
I mean, it's been a year anyway.
Oh, yeah, at least. I know the last several months I've been working a lot on the on the forums, on the website, and tossing back and forth the rules and the breed standards. And
is there? Do you have any kind of rough timeline on the website?
My goal was the first part of April, and I don't really think that'll be. I think we'll be able to meet that. There's just a few more things we have to finish up.
Well, what's the www dot so people can?
It'll be unitedfeist.com.
Cool, short and easy, clean. I like that. Very good. So, there is a Facebook page. There is a United Feist Registry Facebook page, which you can get all kinds of answers and responses on. Plenty of members. But aside from the Facebook page, if people wanted to reach out to you, do you prefer Facebook messaging? Is there a United Feist Registry email set up that they can email to?
There is an email for registration. Will be registration@unitedfeist.com. For the field ops department, it is fieldops@unitedfeist.com.
Simple and easy to understand.
Yep.
All right. So what about as far, if a club wanted to put on a hunt, you can get the hunt packages out and all that, but if the club also wanted to put on a show, what is the judge process going to be if that club wanted to get them a bench show judge set up?
Really haven't got that finalized yet. As of right now, we're going to kind of do what's been done in the past. So every new club will be able to, for lack of a better term, grandfather one official in. So, Davin, if you started a club, you'd pick somebody in your club to be the bench show judge. And since you're a new club, we would grandfather that one person in.
Would still need to communicate that with UFR. I mean, there's going to be a judge license number or something like that.
It'd just be, we're starting an ABC club, and old John Doe over here is who we're nominating to be our grandfathered, bench show judge. And then we'll send him a number or assign him a number. And then once we get a test figured out, because there will be a test. Once we get that figured out, we'll have a way to go about taking the test and getting in that way. But just for right now, we're just going to leave it up to each club, to put forth a name to be the bench show judge.
Very cool.
I guess, too, can I just add, I know I've had several questions about how do I become a member.
Yes, that's probably a good thing to hit.
There's no membership. You register your dog, and that's how you hunt in the hunts. There is no membership fee every year. Once you register your dog, that dog is registered. So we're not an organization, a club to be a member of.
And that confusion obviously just stems from UTFA people, which did have members, kind of flipping over into the registry side, and understandable confusion. But there will not be a board.
No.
There will not be any. There's not going to be votes from within the UFR realm. Decisions will be made, and I guess if there's tons of negative feedback, then Joni, the CFO, CEO, CROCABCO, whatever your title is, you will just take back any kind of feedback and change any kind of future decision on that way.
Yeah, I mean, we don't just make the decision because we're not just dead set on this is the way it should be,
Right.
For every rule, we've talked to a lot of people. Asking a lot of opinions, even asking on Facebook for opinions.
That's a great place to get opinions.
Depends on how many opinions you want. But no, we've it's not. We're not going to make changes, and I say we.
We won't let Joni.
We won't. Yeah. So changes aren't going to be made just at a whim. If somebody wants to, email or whatever an idea or a proposal, we're going to go out. I'm probably going to get with Davin, or I'm going to get with Travis, or I'm going to get with Joni. We're going to go out in the woods. We're going to put that rule to the test, and I can see how this will work. And then at that point, we'll probably lean on a few other people. Hey, y'all, what do you think about this? It's not. Yes, it's going to be Joni's decision, her final say, but I promise you, she's not going to do it without a lot of due diligence.
I would totally agree with that. I think Joni, you do an excellent job of listening and retaining and thinking and processing and then deciding. You are very much a ready, aim, shoot, and not a shoot, aim, ready person. And truly, Joni, just to brag on you, I don't want you to blush or anything. You can't blush on radio anyway. But I do want to say that I think if I was going to join a registry and trust anybody with the Feist breed especially, I think that you will do an excellent job heading up a Feist registry and making good decisions based on the dog and not necessarily personal motive and that sort of thing. So I think anyone listening that maybe doesn't know Joni, hasn't met Joni, but is interested in UFR and learning more and that sort of thing. Joni is an excellent communicator, email, Facebook, whatever. She's an excellent communicator. She will get back to you timely as possible. She does also still have a life and another job and that sort of thing, so people may need to be patient at times. But Joni is excellent to communicate. She's excellent to get back, very level-headed, very cool-headed, not going, like I said, not going to make selfish decisions. I completely trust the Feist breed in Joni's hands, without a doubt. All right, well, I think that will probably wrap it. I can't think of anything else unless y'all got any comments or cheap shots. I can take them. I got thick skin.
Well, I hope a lot of people, join or send their registrations in. I'm tired of going broke. Buying telephones and computer programs.
Oh, phone number. Is there a phone number?
Not yet.
Okay.
That's the biggest holdup.
Yeah.
We'll get back with the phone number.
We've been real reluctant with, of course, everybody and their brothers got my phone number. But I would, when we get all this going. So I guess one thing we didn't touch on, yes, Joni is the grand poobah of this whole thing. But she is heading up registration. And I guess she is allowing me to head up the hunting department, so field ops department. So we are working on getting numbers, so we're not using our personal numbers for the business part. So once we get those taken out, I've got a lot of friends out there that's got my numbers. Well, I hope I got a lot of friends out there that's got my number. But when we get all this started, if you have a UFR question, please call the business line and not my personal line.
Because you also have a life and other things that you do.
Well, I'd like to think sometimes I have a life, but my wife says no, not really. So
one thing I do want to plug that I was happy to have my input on, and I feel like I got my way. It's like a kid at Christmas or something. Just to kind of tease, there will be, like I said, more podcasts coming out to discuss UFR and the things coming down the pipe. But flying squirrels will count. That is one rule that I always hated under the UKC umbrella. I just hate that rule. I always applauded NKC for allowing that to happen. But now I get to applaud the UFR and Joni for seeing that flying squirrels should count.
Well, at least you got your way on something. It seems like every time I turn around, I'm like, hey, what about this? No. What about? No. What about? No. I don't. I think it got very slim on me getting my way. I know how Jeff feels now.
Oh, yeah, I guess we should add that, too. Jeff is the head of the complaint department, right? Did you give that to him?
Let's give him on him.
We'll get him. That'll be the number posted in bold print, the complaint department. We'll let him call Jeff.
And we will give his personal number out.
The complaint department doesn't get that online. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate y'all tuning in and listening. I know this was a really broad stroke. There's plenty more coming. We will get more information out to you as fast as we can. For those of y'all that have reached out to me and Chad just about whether or not there will be more episodes, we always appreciate it. And I'm always glad to hear that people do actually listen when I ramble into this microphone.
That's another thing I haven't got my way on.
But I do also have 3 young kids and a job and a life and things that keep me running wide open. So it does get tough. I don't plan on permanently pulling the plug at the moment, but episodes will be slow at times. But I think we've got some good material now that we can roll some stuff out. It'll be easy to schedule. It'll be easy to record and that sort of thing. So we will work on getting that information out to you. And also, anybody that knows Mr. Elon, like we mentioned at the beginning, he did just win the second annual, the 2026 Top Dog with his high-stakes Becca dog.
The last year of the UTFA Top Dog. Next year it will be the UFR Top Dog. Right?
Correct. Yes. So if y'all know him, and I don't know if he's a shy person or not, I didn't get to ask him yet, but I would like to get him on a microphone and maybe discuss how that feels and maybe talk a little bit about high stakes Becca. She has kind of moved up in the competition world. I feel like she's come along and really is a nice dog. I really like Becca. So anyway, with that, we will wrap it up at just shy of 50 minutes. We appreciate you guys listening, and stay tuned.